Okay, let's dive into a world where speed isn't just an advantage, it's everything. We're talking Forex trading.
Yeah, a market that just never sleeps, moving incredibly fast, 204/7.
And the scale, I mean, the source material we're looking at today is just mind-blowing. Daily trading volumes.
Uh-huh. It says they've absolutely exploded. We're talking $7.5 trillion daily.
7.5 trillion. Wow. Just processing that number tells you this is serious business.
And, what's really interesting is how much of that is driven by machines now.
Exactly. The source points out like over 92% of trades go through algorithms.
92%.
And get this, 70% of the entire daily volume is automated.
So it's not people clicking buttons for the most part, it's systems talking to systems.
Pretty much. And when that's the game, your own tech setup has to be, well, perfect. Speed, reliability.
Yeah.
They're absolutely critical.
If you're slow, you lose. Simple as that.
Yeah, you're missing trades or getting worse prices.
Yeah.
It's that direct. Okay, so for this deep dive, we're going to unpack the source material we have here. It's all about virtual private servers, or VPS, specifically for Forex trading.
Right, and we'll be looking closely at what the source claims about one provider in particular, Hostinger.
So the mission is understand why the source says a VPS is so vital, and then see how a Hostinger, according to this material, stacks up.
Sounds good. Let's start with the basics then, just based on what's in the source. What is a Forex VPS, according to this?
The source describes it as like your own dedicated trading command center.
Okay.
But it's not in your house, it's in the cloud. Secure, reliable, running 24/7.
So like a personal trading computer that never sleeps.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. The big plus, the source says, is it keeps your strategies running, especially those automated ones, the EAs.
The expert advisors, yeah.
Keeps them going even if your laptop dies or your home internet, flakes out.
Okay. So it tackles those common trading headaches, the source lists.
Right. Like no more missed opportunities because the power went out.
Or your Wi-Fi dropped mid-trade. Nightmare stuff.
Exactly. The source promises consistent uptime wherever you are.
Plus, better security for your accounts, which is huge.
Definitely. And maybe the biggest thing for automated trading. Less slippage, faster execution.
Those milliseconds again? Shaving them off?
That's the idea. This tech is meant to give you that tiny edge.
Okay, so if you're sold on needing this command center, what features does the source say you absolutely must look for in a provider?
Number one, according to the source, low latency.
Right.
This is where milliseconds really matter. The source really hammers this point servers physically close to the big trading hubs.
Like New York, London, Tokyo.
Yeah. Being close can cut latency down to under 1 millisecond. That's the critical edge the source talks about, getting your order in faster, closer to the price you want.
Makes sense. And that ties into the next thing, reliability, uptime.
Yep. Opportunities vanish fast. So the source insists on at least 99.9% uptime, guaranteed.
You need that system to be on, always.
Then there's the horsepower. You need enough RAM, enough memory.
How much are we talking?
Well, the source gets specific. It says minimum 8 GB of RAM if you're serious, especially if you're running multiple MT4 or MT5 platforms with EAs.
Right, because those EAs can eat up resources, can't they?
They can. Think of RAM as your system's workspace. More space means it can handle more complex tasks smoothly without, choking.
Got it. And RAM works with the processor, the CPU.
Exactly. The source stresses dedicated processing power vCPU cores, not shared.
So you're not fighting with other users for speed.
Precisely. Dedicated cores mean consistent performance, especially when the market goes crazy, which is when you need speed the most. No bottlenecks.
Okay, RAM, CPU. What about storage? Does that matter for speed?
Hugely. The source points to high-speed storage, specifically NVMe SSD storage.
NVMe. That's faster than regular SSD.
Oh yeah, much faster according to the source. It connects more directly, reads and writes data incredibly quickly. Vital for strategies that react in fractions of a second.
Okay, so low latency, high uptime, enough RAM, dedicated CPU, and super fast NVMe storage. That's the checklist from the source.
That's the core tech spec list, yeah.
Right. So the source then zooms in on Hostinger, calling it a top choice for traders needing performance without breaking the bank.
Let's look at what the source claims about Hostinger's VPS features.
Okay, what does it say about speed?
Well, it talks about lightning-fast speeds. It mentions they use AMD EPYC processors and that NVMe storage we just discussed.
Very good stuff.
Yeah. And it claims network speeds up to 300 milliamps. The bottom line is supposed to be rapid trade execution.
And the uptime. Does it meet that 99.9% mark?
The source says yes, Hostinger guarantees 99.9% uptime. It also notes something about triple redundancy in their infrastructure to back that up.
Triple redundancy sounds robust. Good for peace of mind.
And remember latency. Location matters. The source highlights Hostinger's global network.
How many locations?
7 strategic ones listed: USA, UK, Netherlands, Lithuania, Singapore, India, and Brazil.
So you can pick one close to your broker.
That's the idea presented, yeah. Choose a server near your broker server to slash that latency.
Makes sense. What about platform compatibility, like MetaTrader?
The source confirms full compatibility. MT4, MT5, expert advisors, all good to go, it says.
Crucial for most traders. And security. Trading involves real money.
The source lists quite a few measures. DDoS protection.
To stop those traffic floods.
Right. BitNinja server security, firewalls, automatic malware scanning, regular security updates. It seems like a layered approach based on the description.
Okay. Seems comprehensive. Now, the source also gets into the actual plans Hostinger offers, right? The different tiers.
It does. It mentions 8 different VPS plans.
8 options. And the starting price.
Very low, actually. The source says it starts from £3.49 a month.
Wow, okay. What do you get for that?
Well, the source gives specs for a few. VPS 1 is 1 GB RAM, 20 GB storage, 1 vCPU, 1 TB bandwidth.
Pretty basic. What's next?
VPS 2 doubles most of that. 2 GB RAM, 40 EDB storage, 2 vCPUs, 2 TB bandwidth.
Okay, getting better.
Then VPS 4 jumps to 4 GB RAM, 80 GB storage, 4 vCPUs, 4 TB bandwidth.
They're more serious.
And then there's a specific recommendation in the source, a pro trader tip.
Oh, for which plan?
For the VPS 8 plan. It suggests this one for serious traders running multiple EAs.
What are the specs on that one?
8 GB RAM, 160 GB storage, 8 vCPU cores, and 8 TB bandwidth. The source emphasizes that 8 GB RAM and 8 cores are needed for that kind of heavy lifting.
So that matches the earlier recommendation for 8 GB RAM for serious users.
It does. The source also notes all these VPS plans come with standard stuff like full root access.
So you control the server completely.
Yeah. Dedicated IP address, 100 milliVs network line, IPv4 and IPv6, weekly backups, and the DDoS protection we mentioned.
Okay, so a range of VPS options. But the source also mentions cloud hosting from Hostinger. How's that different?
It's positioned as like the next level up for traders needing even more power or scalability.
The enterprise-grade stuff.
That's the implication. The source lists 3 cloud plans. Cloud Startup, 3 GB RAM, 2 CPU, 200 GB SSD. Cloud Professional, 6 GB RAM, 4 CPU, 250 GB SSD. And Cloud Enterprise.
And the enterprise specs.
Pretty hefty. 12 GB RAM, 6 CPU cores, 300 GB SSD storage.
Wow. So what are the specific benefits of cloud for Forex, according to the source?
Dedicated resources, even more so than VPS apparently. Faster response times, auto-scaling.
Meaning it adjusts resources automatically if the market gets busy.
That's what it sounds like, yeah. Handle volatility, spikes better. The source claims it's up to 300% faster than traditional shared hosting.
3 times faster? That's a bold claim.
It is. Plus daily backups instead of weekly, and you get a free domain and dedicated IP included.
Okay. Sounds powerful, but maybe complicated to set up.
The source actually makes it sound pretty simple. It gives a quick 5-step process.
Oh, yeah. What are the steps?
Basically, choose your plan, log into the control panel, install MT4, MT5, set it your EAs, configure remote access. That's it, according to the material.
Seems manageable.
Let's circle back to performance for a second. The source highlights a few more tech details contributing to Hostinger's claimed speed.
Like what?
Light-speed web servers are mentioned, claimed to be much faster than older tech, useful for web panels.
Okay.
NVMe storage again. The source actually puts a number on it. Read-write speeds up to 10 times faster than regular SSDs.
10 times. That's significant for data access.
Definitely. Then there's HTTP3 support for better connection stability, PHP 7 support for web tools.
And CDN integration.
Right, global CDN integration, content delivery network, help serve data from nearby locations to reduce latency. It's all part of the speed puzzle described in the source.
Okay, so lots of tech aimed at speed and reliability. What about the cost side? The source does a cost-benefit analysis, right?
It does. It argues the value proposition.
How so?
First, it claims the initial cost is significantly lower than many dedicated Forex VPS providers for similar performance.
Cheaper entry point.
Yeah. And scaling up, adding more resources later is presented as easier and without huge price jumps.
That's good for growing accounts. What about support if something goes wrong?
The source mentions 24/7 tech support and claims a very fast average response time, just 3 minutes.
3 minutes. That's impressive if true. Could be vital mid-trade.
Absolutely. And then the benefit side of the analysis, the source tries to quantify the performance return.
How? through slippage.
Exactly. It suggests the faster execution can reduce slippage by zero point 0.1 to 0.5 pips per trade.
Which might not sound like much, but
But for an active trader, the source estimates that could save 50 pounds to 100 pounds a week.
okay, so potentially paying for itself relatively quickly for high-volume traders.
That's the argument presented. So the source's overall conclusion on value is pretty clear. It positions Hostinger's VPS and cloud plans as offering excellent value, hitting the necessary tech specs without the premium price tag of some competitors.
So wrapping up the core message from the source material, in today's Forex market with all the automation,
$7.5 trillion a day, 70% automated.
a solid, fast VPS isn't a luxury anymore. The source basically calls it a necessity for serious traders.
A foundational piece of kit. And this source positions Hostinger as a provider that delivers that foundation, the NVMe, the global data centers, the uptime guarantee.
But makes it accessible, price-wise.
Right. Oh, and just as a detail included in the source material we reviewed, it does mention a specific discount code.
Does it?
Yeah, it lists AFFMaven 8, says it gives an extra 8% off, just noting it as it was part of the provided text.
Got it. Part of the source info.
So this whole discussion, it really highlights how technology-driven Forex has become.
Absolutely. Speed, automation, infrastructure. It's central.
Mm.
But it raises a question, doesn't it?
Which is?
Well, if everyone starts using this kind of high-performance, low-latency tech, if a good VPS becomes standard issue.
How do you actually get an edge?
Exactly.
Right.
How do you balance relying on the tech, which everyone might have access to, with developing your own unique strategy, your own skill?
What happens when the technological playing field gets maybe too level? Does the edge shift back entirely to strategy and psychology?
It's definitely something for you, the listener, to think about. Where does technology fit in your trading approach, and where does your personal edge come from?